Shri Aurobindo's symbol. The descending triangle represents Sat, Chit, Ananda. The ascending triangle represents the aspiring answer from matter under the form of life, light, and love. The junction of both, the central square, is the perfect manifestation, having at its center the avatar of the Supreme, the lotus. The water inside the square represents the multiplicity, the creation.
What Shri Aurobindo represents in the history of the earth's spiritual progress is not a teaching, not even a revelation. It is a mighty action straight from the Supreme. In the eternity of becoming, each avatar is only the announcer, the forerunner of a more perfect future realization. And yet, men have always the tendency to defy the avatar of the past in opposition to the avatar of the future. Now again, Shri Aurobindo has come announcing to the world the realization of tomorrow. And again, his message meets with the same opposition as of all those who preceded him. But tomorrow will prove the truth of what he revealed, and his work will be done.
In 1879, Shri Aurobindo's father took his 3 sons to England and placed them with a clergyman and his wife with strict instructions that they should not be allowed to make the acquaintance of any Indian or undergo any Indian influence. These instructions were carried out to the letter. And Aurobindo grew up in entire ignorance of India, her people, her religion, and her culture. At the age of 11, Aurobindo had already received strongly the impression that a period of general upheaval and great revolutionary changes was coming in the world, and he himself was destined to play a part in it. His attention was now drawn to India, and this feeling was soon canalized into the idea of the liberation of his own country. But the firm decision took full shape only towards the end of another 4 years. It had already been made when he went to Cambridge and as a member and for some time secretary of the Indian Majlis at Cambridge, he delivered many revolutionary speeches which, as he afterwards learned, had their part in determining the authorities to exclude him from the Indian civil service. In 1890, he passed also the open competition for the Indian civil service, but at the end of 2 years of probation, failed to present himself at the riding examination and was disqualified for the service. At this time, the Gaekwar of Baroda was in London. Aurobindo saw him, obtained an appointment in the Baroda service, and left England for India, arriving there in February 1893. Shri Aurobindo had some spiritual experiences, but that was before he knew anything about yoga, or even what yoga was. A vast calm which descended upon him at the moment when he stepped first on Indian soil after his long absence, in fact with his first step on the Apollo Bandar in Bombay. This calm surrounded him and remained for long months afterwards. In England, he had received, according to his father's express instructions, an entirely Occidental education without any contact with the culture of India and the East. At Baroda, he made up the deficiency, learned Sanskrit and several modern Indian languages, assimilated the spirit of Indian civilization and its forms, past and present. Shri Aurobindo passed 13 years, from 1893 to 1906, in the Baroda service. First, in the revenue department and in secretariat work for the Maharaja, afterwards as professor of English, and finally, vice principal in the Baroda College. These were years of self-culture, of literary activity, for much of the poetry afterwards published from Pondicherry was written at this time, and of preparation for his future work. He had